What's going on, Violent Community? It's your boy Ryan Webb back with another video, and my oh my oh my, has it been a long time since I've last uploaded. It's been a good 6-7 months since I last uploaded. I think it was back in like July was when I uploaded that Velvet Underground uh, album ranking list, and yeah, I haven't uploaded since, and I don't have any super big reasoning for that. I did make a couple of videos after that one, and I wasn't satisfied with how they turned out, so I just didn't upload them at all and kind of deleted them. And then after that, I started going to college for my first semester, and it was pretty busy time, or as busy as you could be for college during a pandemic. Yeah, this first semester of college has definitely been an experience I don't think I'll ever forget. Very different from what many people probably say their college experience was like. And yeah, I've finished up my first semester. I go back in a couple of weeks. I've also been working a new job these past few weeks. Interesting experience as well. Not gonna go into too much details about that, but yeah, I just haven't been making videos uh, at all. And I have thought off and on about making videos. I just never knew what I would do, or I don't know. I just never got around to it, and I really should be trying to get back around because I do love making these videos. I love talking about all these records because I don't always get the chance to talk about them very much. And when I do talk about them, I feel like I can go on about them and probably bore whoever I am talking to about them. But that's the fun thing about the vinyl community, is that we've all got this shared love. We all find new things through each other. And this platform of YouTube gives us as much time as we want to talk about these records and ramble on. And that's the beauty of the VC. And even though I haven't been uploading any videos in almost half a year, I still have been watching a lot of videos. I watch whatever VC YouTubers uploading every day. And let me tell you guys, you're all making great content, and keep it up. Because I mean, you guys provide me and tons of other with so much great content, and just it's so much. It's almost like a replacement for TV, you know, because I think we all agree that in recent years, TV has gone kind of boring with stuff like YouTube coming along. And so rather than watching a boring show or the news, we can watch some people talk about music and stuff that we like and find some new stuff. And that's real cool. And so, yeah, to all you guys, even though I might not be uploading videos very often, keep doing what you're doing. You're making great content, and I love your videos. And I also wanted to, before we get into this, I wanted to thank everyone that's still actually subscribed to this channel. You know, it's been a long time since I've been active. And even then, I've only lost like 3 or 4 subscribers, which is surprisingly. I figured I would have lost maybe some more subscribers through that. But no, people in the VC are very loyal. And that's another great thing about the vinyl community, is that everyone's just so loving and supportive of each other. Vinyl community was without a doubt the greatest community in the world. And I will go on record to say that, as saying that no other community is as supportive and loving as the VC. So yeah, even though I probably pop in, disappear, I don't know if I'm what my upload schedule will be. I just want to know that I appreciate everyone that's still subscribed to this channel, and I appreciate everyone making vinyl videos that provide me and many others with entertainment. So yeah, I've rambled on for almost 4 minutes about stuff that's not the vinyl tag. So let's get into the video, because you know, you guys clicked on this video, I'm assuming because you wanted to watch the vinyl tag 2021, not watch some random 18-year-old ramble about his life that you probably don't know much about. But anyways, let's get into the vinyl tag. So who was it that, I'm so sorry, I don't remember who started this tag. He's a channel I hadn't heard of before this, but I checked out some of his videos as well as the vinyl tag, and it's really interesting content. I'm sure if you check videos by Chris Profrey, Musically Obsessed, or Emma's 8 Vinyl Low channel, I believe they know. They give who was the original creator of the vinyl tag 2021. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but yeah, he made some very great questions, and it's really fun watching these videos, getting to see different corners of everyone's collection. And that's the beauty of all these tags, is getting to see what everyone's got. So yeah, once again, I've rambled for another minute of nothingness, so let's get into the video. Vinyl tag 21. So the first question, or whatever it is for why am I stumbling over this? I don't know. The first question for this thing, for the tag, is a discovery in 2020. And in 2020, I discovered the artist Angel Olsen, who I have not discussed as much as I really should have on this channel because I absolutely adore her. I briefly mentioned her back in my Black Albums challenge that the Vinyl Guru started because Vinyl Guru mentioned Angel Olsen. I was ecstatic to find a fellow Angel fan, and yeah, I discovered her last February with her album All Mirrors, which was the most recent one at that point, and it's a very beautiful record. It's a Baroque chamber pop type thing with like strings, keyboards. You should really check it out. And that was the album that I was first introduced to her with, but the album that really, made me a fan of Angel Olsen and just made me want to check out everything she had and all her discography was this record right here, My Woman from 2016. Now, this one's very different from All Mirrors. This one's more of a garage rock record. Very, simple rock and roll, 4 chords, what else you need. But it is amazing. It's probably, it's no, it's not probably, it is the best rock record of the past decade, the 2010s. I mean, this is just killer song after killer song. To those who say that rock and roll is dead, like Gene Simmons, that only listen to rock and roll radio, that plays Trapped as the most recent song for rock, listen to this record and you will be proved wrong that rock is in fact not dead, but still very much alive and thriving. All right, question number 2 is a quarantine buy. So I decided to go with, well, I believe it was the very first record I bought when the whole quarantine came to Texas where I live, and that is Jeff Buckley's Grace. Now, the whole quarantine started here around the time of my spring break, which is a perfect time, for a whole world shut down, right as everyone's getting an entire break to do what they want. And yeah, that was when restaurants and record stores, everything kind of started shutting down. And I rediscovered this record through Spotify on during spring break, and then later that week I ordered this off of Discogs, and yeah, this provided me with some much needed quarantine entertainment while I was locked in my room in need of some new records, but not being able to go inside a record store for a long time. And this is a fantastic album, by the way. I heard it once like 4 or 5 years ago and I thought it was good, but then when I heard it last year I was just blown away. This is an incredible record. Most of you probably know Jeff Buckley for his cover of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, which is a fantastic song, but this whole album is just filled with so many great songs, like Lilac Wine, So Real is my favorite song off the album, Lover You Should Have Come Over, Corpus Christi Carol, Eternal Life. This was a record that sadly, when it was released in 1994, got very overlooked, but has over time gotten the credit it deserves. It is an amazing record, and if you like the song Hallelujah or just need some 90s alternative rock to check out, do not hesitate to buy this record or just listen to it on Spotify. It's amazing. All right, the next question is an LP you want to find in 2021. Now, there's plenty of LPs I'm really wanting to find. I originally was thinking about putting the record Box Bottom by Alex Chilton, because that's a record that I discovered a month or 2 ago and I really enjoyed it. I'm a big Star fan, so I decided to check out Alex Chilton's solo stuff and it was really good. But the record that I decided to put down that I really want to find in 2021 is Hounds of Love by Kate Bush. Now, I've heard her first album, what was it, The Kick Inside? And that's a really good record. You should check it out, and I really need a copy of that record as well. But Hounds of Love is, I mean, probably her most critically acclaimed record, an album that probably, if you know Kate Bush, you know that one. It's got Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God, which is probably her biggest song, and a very fantastic song. I do enjoy that song a lot. And I still need to hear the record on Spotify. Yeah, because it's such a iconic art rock record that has, everyone says it's almost like a perfect album and will be in their top albums of all time. And I really want to find a copy of it. But the unfortunate thing is, new or used, you're paying like 30 and upwards for that record. And, for new records, I prefer 20 to 25. So 30 for an album I haven't heard. I may bite the bullet soon and take a chance on it because, I've heard her first record and I really liked it. So I think I'm going to like Hounds of Love, but yeah, the price, $30 has just been kind of a put off for me, but who knows, maybe when I get my next paycheck, I'll check it out. But yeah, that was Kate Bush, Hounds of Love is a record I'm really hoping to find in 2021. Question number 4, a box set. I don't have too many box sets. The only other technical box set album I have is George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. However, the box set I decided to show is this right here, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band live 1975 to 85. This is what, like 5 records long. It's more than 3 hours of music. I mean, look at all these songs. And it covers literally a decade of performances. You know, you got stuff from back in 1975 where he performs Thunder Road. You got a lot of stuff from 78 and 80. And then you also have some recent stuff from this record that he had been performing, like the stuff from the Born in the USA tour. And I've only actually listened to this whole thing once because, you know, it's 5 records over 3 hours of music. I don't really know how often I have like 3.5 hours to kill anymore, but I occasionally listen to a record from this, and it's a really good live record. But yeah, this is really, for if you're a fan of Bruce Springsteen, it's worth checking out, just to, you know, to have something cool in the collection. It's a real interesting thing, and it's got, I dropped the cover for it, oopsie daisy. And it's got these cool printed inner sleeves, a booklet. And I was able to find this thing for like 15-20 bucks used, and it's in really nice shape. I mean, you can tell the box has a little bit of wear, but the record is playing through just fine. So, I mean, if you're able to find this in good or in pretty good condition for a decent pricing, like the boss, Bruce Springsteen, then yeah, check it out. Just make sure you have 3.5 hours to kill whenever you need to listen to it. All right. Question number 4, a concept record. So now let's go with what I think is the greatest concept album of all time, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. I mean, this is iconic Motown, just iconic records of all time. This was recently, a lot of you probably know that Rolling Stone recently redid their 500 greatest albums of all time list, and they put this record at number 1. And while I personally, it's definitely in my top 10, maybe I wouldn't put it at number 1, but I can definitely understand why this record was put at number 1, because if you listen to it, a lot of the issues he's talked about on this record are still just as relevant today and still hit home just like they probably did back in 1970. But it's done in such a beautiful way, like such a very soulful way. I mean, the song Mercy, Mercy Me, the Ecology, is one of the most beautiful songs, perfect songs of all time. And even other songs like the title track, What's Going On, What's Happening, Brother, Inner City Blues, Makes Me Want to Holler. I mean, just killer tracks, timeless record. And if you have not checked this record out, you're really doing yourself a disservice. This is an album you have to hear at least once in your life because it's that culturally important, in my opinion, and just perfect, in my opinion. Check this album out if you somehow haven't already. All right, question number 5. That was question number 5. I think I said that was question 4. I don't know. Just pretend I didn't say question 4 if I did, but this one is question number 6. And the question is an album where a band artist changed directions, and I chose the Smiths with their final album from 1987, Strange Ways, Here We Come. Now, if you know the Smiths, you know that their sound was predominantly, very jangle pop, 60s revival-esque, and it was a really good sound for them. I mean, I love the record that came before this, The Queen Is Dead. That album is perfect, in my opinion. But then this album, Johnny Marr, the guitarist, wanted to ditch that, 60s revival sound and make an album that's very keyboard driven. And it's a very different sounding record because of that keyboards. Even the guitars aren't the same like they were on those previous records, but this album is just as good as The Queen Is Dead. I absolutely love this record, and it's a perfect way for the band to go out. I mean, what more can I say about this record? It's just amazing. Check it out. Let's see, the next question, number 7, a white label promo. I don't have too many white label promos, but the first one that came to mind was Relight My Fire by Dan Hartman. Now, Dan Hartman, even over the summer, I kept planning to make a video about him because he is just such an amazing man, or he was. He unfortunately died back in 1994, but I mean, his musical legacy is incredible, but you probably have never heard his name, but he was in the Edgar Winter group. He wrote and sang the song Free Ride, and then after he left the Edgar Winter group, he went on to have some disco success with Instant Replay and the song Relight My Fire, and then his biggest hit was the song I Can Dream About You from 1984 from the soundtrack to the movie um, Streets of Fire, which is a really good movie. And even then, he still had some other success as a producer. I know his biggest production credit, I believe, was James Brown's Living in America. But I mean, Dan Hartman, he just had so much to do in music, but he doesn't get the credit he deserves, which is unfortunate because I love me some Dan Hartman. Here is the white label promo. It's on Blue Sky Records. And this is a really good album. It's definitely not his best, in my opinion. His best is I Can Dream About You from 1984. But I mean, this is still a really good. If you're into disco, this is definitely worth checking out. You can find it for dirt cheap. I love the songs Vertigo, Relight My Fire, and I Love Making Music. Those are just really great tracks. All right, the next question, number 8, is a compilation album. I chose David Bowie's Changes One Bowie. This is a really good compilation of his early 70s, late 60s. It's got Space Oddity, Changes, Suffragette City, Rebel Rebel, Fame, and Golden Years on it. This was great from his, glam rock, Ziggy Stardust, and his Thin White Duke and Plastic Soul era. Now, my personal favorite era of Bowie is the era from Low to Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Those albums are all incredible, but I mean, you still can't go wrong with the early David Bowie, the glam rock. I mean, he made some amazing songs, and this has a lot of the best songs from him, so great compilation. Now, the next question is an album that tells a story, and once again, like with Marvin Gaye, I'm choosing the best story album in my opinion, and that is Pink Floyd's The Wall. I mean, need I say more about this record? There's a good chance you've already heard it, or heard of it at least. You probably know the singles, Comfortably Numb and Another Brick in the Wall. This album is just iconic. It's another one of my favorite albums of all time. I absolutely adore this record. And yeah, my favorite story record of all time. I prefer Over the Dark Side of the Moon every single day of the week. All right, so now we're at question number 10, an album that needs a vinyl pressing. Now, an album I really want a vinyl pressing of is Buddy Holly's Greatest Hits. This is a compilation from, 1995, the CD says. And in my opinion, this is probably the best Buddy Holly Greatest Hits to ever put out. It has all his best songs. Got the songs we all know, like That Will Be the Day, Peggy Sue, Not Fade Away. But then it's got some other really good songs that you don't really see on any other Buddy Holly compilations, like I'm Gonna Love You Too and I'm Looking for Someone to Love. If you're looking to get a good Buddy Holly compilation, the 20 Greatest Hits Buddy Holly Lives is a really good one, but that one also has a few filler Buddy Holly tracks, like the Bo Diddley cover is okay. And what else? Wishing is good, but I mean, those were just kind of definitely tacked on just to have extra stuff to make 20 Greatest Hits. But this one has 18 songs, and it's got really, if you're just into Buddy Holly for the hits, you're not really looking for the albums, this one has all of his best songs on it, and I really would like to get a vinyl pressing of it, because I mean, sometimes I just want to listen to the Buddy Holly singles, and this is what's got all of them, all the best ones on it. So yeah, if I could pick one record to get a first pressing on vinyl, it would be this one right here. All right, question number 11, an uncommon album a common album and an uncommon album. Now, for the common record, I decided to do INXS's Listen Like Thieves. Now, I was originally thinking of doing their record that came after this called Kick, because that's my favorite INXS record and one of my favorite albums of all time. The album kicks ass, pun intended, but I don't really see Kick all that often. I guess maybe once it finds its way into a store, people immediately grab it because it's iconic. INXS got all their big hits, and it's just an amazing album. But when it comes to INXS, I always find this record that came before it all the time in really nice condition for dirt cheap, and it's a shame because it's a really good record. It's, even though I don't think it's as good as Kick, it still has so many great songs. It's got the energetic Michael Hutchence, who I personally think is probably the greatest frontman of the rock and roll era, just super energetic, always knew how to make a good performance. and it's got, you know, What You Need on it, Kiss the Dirt, Shine Like It Does, and This Time on it, but then also some really good deep cuts like Listen to Like Thieves, Biting Bullets, 1X1, and Red Red Sun. I mean, if you have a copy of Kick and you really like it, then you really need to do yourself a favor and check out this one, because I guarantee you'll like this record as well. It's almost just as good as Kick. It's just got a couple of filler tracks that make it not as good in my opinion. But on to the Uncommon album, I decided to do the New York Dolls with Too Much Too Soon. Now, the New York Dolls are definitely not some super obscure, you've never heard of them band, because there's a good chance you have if you're a big rock geek like I am, because I mean, they've got a lot of acclaim and have inspired tons of bands like Kiss, the Ramones, and the Smiths. I mean, their influence is greatly felt in the rock world, but I mean, when it comes to being mentioned and getting the respect they deserve, they don't, I find that they don't get named as much as the great rock and roll bands like they should. Like, you know, everyone knows the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Rolling Stones. Everyone names those bands as some of the greatest of all time. And while I do agree that the Beatles are one of the greatest bands of all time, I personally think that the New York Dolls are way better than the bands like Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, and The Who. I'll take the New York Dolls' first two records over any Who, Led Zeppelin record. In my opinion, they just were so good, but unfortunately they were a bit ahead of their time. You know, glam rock was popular in the UK in the early 70s, but in the US you could still, I believe, get arrested for dressing up like a woman, and that was kind of the New York Dolls' thing, was men dressing up in drag, and that's probably why a lot of people were put off by them. But now they're a very respected proto-punk band and have a lot of acclaim. And if you haven't checked out either of their first two records, you need to do yourself another favor after you do yourself a favor and check out the other records I keep mentioning and will mention. I keep telling yourself to do yourself a favor because you really need to. And one of the albums you need to add to your listening list is In Too Much Too Soon by the New York Dolls, as well as their self-titled debut. Amazing, amazing records. All right, what's the next one? An EP. I decided to do this EP right here. It's called Sugar and Spice by Hatchy. Now, I could have also put her in the Uncommon records as well, because she is definitely not super popular. I mean, she does definitely have a cult following, but I definitely don't see her in the record stores or in any videos. And she's a really good artist. She's a mixture of kind of dream and jangle pop. And she's a newer artist, I believe. Does this say when this one came out? No. I believe this came out in like 2016 or 17, and her debut came out in 2019. And they're both really good. You should, if you're a fan of dream or jangle pop records, you should really do yourself a favor and check them out. This one, it's a single-sided on blue vinyl, and it has an etching on side 2. I don't think it's coming up, but it says Sugar and Spice all over the side 2. Yeah, it's not coming up on camera, but yeah, if you're, like I said, if you're a fan of dream pop or jangle pop, then you should check Hatchy out. She makes some great songs, and this EP is a really good way to introduce yourself to her music. All right, what's next on here? A girl group, The Supremes, Where Did Our Love Go? I mean, you can't get any more classic than this, other than maybe the Ronettes, you know, when it comes to classic 60s girl groups. But I don't have the Ronettes, but I do have Where Did Our Love Go by the Supremes, and this has a lot of really good songs on it. The classic Baby Love, which you have a hype sticker for. Long Gone Lover is probably my favorite on here. A Breathtaking Guy, He Means the World to Me. I definitely don't listen to this record as much as I should, but I mean, if you're a fan of, you know, classic Motown 60s girl groups, this is a record to check out. All right, what's next? We got an album cover that you love. I decided to go with Avalon by Roxy Music. I do really like the back cover as well, but mainly the front cover is what I've always really loved. Now, I've known about this album for a while because it's one of my dad's favorite albums of all time, and he has it as like the background on his phone and iPad, and I was always kind of intrigued by this album cover because I always thought it was real beautiful and peaceful. And finally, last year, I decided to check out the album, and it really, the the music itself really complements the cover very well. It's just very relaxing, beautiful music that you can chill to at the end of the day with a cold drink in your hand, you know, after a long day of work. This is an amazing, amazing record. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. Just throw it on at the end of a long day before you go to bed. It's just very relaxing and mellow, but very beautiful and timeless in my opinion. All right, what's next? We got an album that you've listened to the most. Now, I've been collecting records for almost 7 years, and I started back when I was 11, and I've obviously changed a lot since then. I've gone through many different phases, so for me, I wasn't sure what might be my most played record of all time, because, you know, one year I was into bands like Megadeth and Van Halen, and the next I was listening to Wham and Andy Gibb a lot, so who knows what my most played record of all time would be. So I decided to go with what I think would be my most played record of 2020. And even then, that was kind of hard to choose because I wanted to put like Angel Olsen's My Woman, Elvis Costello's My Name is True. But ultimately, I think the record I listened to the most in 2020 was Pornography by The Cure. Now, I've been trying to get rid of records that I don't really listen to that much and make way for records I will listen to. And back in July, I sold some records and I got about $30 store credit, and I got this record with all that store credit. And man, it was worth it because this album is fucking amazing. I try not to use too many cuss words because, you know, I want to make sure that everyone can watch these videos, but saying freaking amazing won't do this album justice. I have to say it's fucking amazing. It's goth rock at its gothiest. You know, if you know The Cure, you know that they're pretty dark, and this album, I believe there was a review for it back in the day that described it as Phil Spector in hell, and I mean, that really describes it perfectly. This album sounds like the end of the world, impending doom, and I absolutely love it. 100 Years, Siamese Twins, Cold, I mean, just beautiful, beautiful gothic rock. I listened to this a bajillion times, and I still find myself listening to the songs, if not the whole album, at least somewhat frequently now. I just adore this record. It's beautiful, and if you're into gothic rock, post-punk, this is an essential. All right, what's next? We got an album you had to get an OG of. Now, here's another Buddy Holly album. And this is the original pressing of his album from 1958. Now, as you can tell, it's definitely pretty beat up. I originally was just kind of wanting to get it because I'm a massive Buddy Holly fan. He's in my top 10 favorite artists of all time, and I've had an 80s pressing on MCA of this album for a long time, and I just was thinking for fun maybe to get an original copy, because why not have a cool collector's piece. And this one was like $20 in good plus condition. I wasn't expecting much, but I honestly find myself listening to this pressing more than the 80s one, because even though it's pretty beat up, you know, it's got a lot of pops in it, it plays through just fine. And I mean, the production and the sound quality on this record I find is better than the 80s one. I mean, the drums on Peggy Sue just sound so spacious and incredible. I mean, they knew how, like, Buddy Holly really knew what he was going for with this record. He wanted something that sounded like no other rock and roll record at the time. I mean, this is another one of my favorite albums of all time. It's just 24 minutes long, but it does not waste a single note. And yeah, I'm really happy I got this original Buddy Holly copy. What's next? We got the last album you purchased. Now, at the time of filming this, it's 12:30 in the morning. So that means today is December 10th, the 5-year anniversary of David Bowie's passing. And the other day was also his birthday. And so I decided for the anniversary of both of these days, I'd go and buy an album that I've been wanting to get for a little bit, and that is Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. I heard this record for the first time last year, and I was blown away by it. It's definitely in my top 5 favorite Bowie records. It was released in 1980, and it's a combination of, like, you know, the art rock Bowie that we all know, but then the later pop 80s Bowie that we would all come to know with Let's Dance and all that. And it combines those two types of Bowies beautifully and into one amazing record. I mean, It's No Game, Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, Teenage Wildlife. I mean, I love this record. This is definitely top 5 Bowie. If you're looking to get into David Bowie, this is one worth checking out. All right, let's see what's next. We got an album that they don't get. I'm not sure who the they is, but I know a lot of people don't get this record. I mentioned it in my underrated records video that I did back over the summer, and that is Paul McCartney's McCartney 2. I love this record. Behind Ram, it is my second favorite I'm thinking of Buddy Holly. This is my second favorite Paul McCartney record because I just love how weird it is, you know. I mean, Paul McCartney is definitely a great pop songwriter with songs like Band on the Run and With a Little Luck. But I mean, you know, it's fun to hear Paul just goof around every once in a while and try something new. I mean, that's what his debut McCartney was him trying something new. And people love that record. And Ram is also him trying something new and goofing around a little bit. And people, myself included, will say it's his best record, but then Paul McCartney goofed around and tried something new with this record, and people are like, I don't like that, and I don't understand it. I mean, you got Coming Up on here, which the live version was the one that became the hit, but I much prefer the studio version. And Temporary Secretary, I mean, that song was just so ahead of its time and so unbelievably catchy. Like, even after the first listen, you can't get any of the melodies from Temporary Secretary out of your head. Waterfalls is a really good song. I love Frozen Jap. Dark Room has this amazing bass line of the boom, 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 boom. And I love the closing track, One of These Days. I mean, it's a beautiful song. I don't get why this album has gotten so much negative attention throughout the years. I mean, it's definitely in recent years gained a cult following from people who think like me that it was ahead of its time when it came to, you know, new wave and synth pop. But even then, this album still gets bashed on a lot, it seems. And I'm here to defend this record until I die or until one day I decide I don't like it. But until then, I will defend this record. It is my favorite of the McCartney trilogy, and McCartney 3 is also a great record, but that's not what this is about. Okay, let's see. The next question is a punk album. Now, the punk record I chose was the singles by Bikini Kill. Originally, I was going to put them down for the girl group section and put The Clash under the punk album, but I figured it would be kind of cheating to put this record under a girl group because at the time of this release, Bikini Kill had a man as their guitar player or guitar or bass player, one of the two. Nowadays, he's not a part of the group and it's an all-girl group, so I was thinking of cheating and putting Bikini Kill on the list because they are technically a girl group now and they're part of the Riot Girl feminist punk movement. But I decided I'll put them for punk because, I mean, in terms of punk rock, this is one of the best records ever when it comes to punk. I mean, it's only like 17 or 18 minutes long, but every album just grabs you by the throat and demands your attention. Kathleen Hanna is just a great front woman, and if you're into punk rock and you've heard the classics like The Clash, Ramones, Sex Pistols, and looking for something new to get into, definitely check out Bikini Kill. They've had an amazing discography and are still around to this day. They got back together a few years ago, I think. And hopefully they release some new stuff because, I mean, they made some great stuff in the 90s, so why not make some great stuff in the 2020s? All right, now we're on to the final question. Favorite 2020 reissue. Now, I really need to get this record because even though I put it as my favorite 2020 reissue, I still have yet to get it, but I was just excited that they even announced and released it to begin with, and that was the reissue of Tom Petty's Wildflowers. Now, I mean, this is one of Tom's most beloved records. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful album, and for a long time, you could barely find a copy of it. You either had to buy the original from '94, which was already hundreds of dollars, or you can buy the box set of his albums 1994 to 2014, which was also going to be hundreds of dollars. So essentially, unless you were Bill Gates or someone rich, you probably didn't get any of those unless you bought the box set because it just was too much money just for one album. And they re-released the album Wildflowers along with a bunch of outtakes that Tom did around this time. And like you can get like the Wildflowers 3-record set that comes with some of the bonus tracks, or you can get like a big like 10-record bonus set. I mean, they really went all out for the re-release of Tom Petty's Wildflowers, and I was really excited for it, and I still need to get a copy of it, so hopefully I'll do that soon. So that has been the Vinyl Tag 2021. This video went on a lot longer than I thought it would. We're approaching 35 minutes, but man, was this a fun video to make. I'm glad I've made it. It's, you know, like I said, it's been too long since I last made a video, and I'm hoping to be making some more videos soon. I'm just not sure what about, but we'll see. But If this turns out to be my last video, which I'm not intending to at the moment, but if you never hear from me again, just know I appreciate everyone that's been making videos and watching my videos, and that I have no plans to slow down anytime soon. I might make a fines video because the last one I made was back when I graduated in June, and so that's been a good 7 months. And if I do end up making that fines video, that video will probably end up being longer than this one because I've got so many records I've got since then. It'll prove to you that even though I don't make videos, I'm still just as active in the VC as everyone else is. But yeah, this has been a fun video to make. Great way to show off my collection. And I will see you guys whenever I see you again. Peace.